Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. With sneakers, boots, and everything in between for every style, mood, and occasion, you'll definitely find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. DSW. Let us surprise you.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard, live downtown Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Busy program lined up over the next 3 hours. Derek Stevens in studio a little bit later on. We'll talk college football with Paul Stone in 90 minutes. Mr. Las Vegas, Anthony Curtis in studio. And it is Frozen Frenzy Day today in the National Hockey League. Jonathan Davis and Best Bets with 16 games on the slate coming up in 30 here on the program. Paulie, we are 4 hours away from game number 4 of the World Series. And I think everybody is still on a high from the game that ended at past midnight out here in the West Coast. How'd that taste, East Coast? Tell me again how it's better to watch sports on the East Coast rather than out here. 3 a.m. special delivered right to your house on a Monday night. That was a doozy, and we can't wait to see what the hell's going to happen in this game tonight. But that, on so many levels, was just instant classic, as good as it gets, and we got to do it all over again tonight.
Love it. One of the best games ever with the drama and what happened. The guys, Yamamoto's going to come into the game. Snell asked multiple times to come in. He was denied. Bieber was coming into the game. There was no one left. It was fantastic. And to think that Klein, Mookie Betts had a great quote. You know, I think Klein's the MVP. You know, outside of Ohtani reaching base 9 times.
Yeah, right.
But with, you know, the longest performance in 4 years for Klein. And every time they came back, they said, how much do you have left? He goes, whatever you need. Whatever you need, I'm going to go. And he gutted through it and went 4 innings. And he was awesome. And another reason why they won as well, 6 outs on the bases, 609 pitches, second longest game of all time. I believe this game was longer than the entire 1939 World Series in its entirety.
Yeah, why not?
So I can't get it. I also love that they did an extended post game, which I couldn't believe. But A-Rod was making the case because of what happened. He was so good, the stolen base, that he came off the bag, that he would push Ohtani back to Game 5. But they're not going to do that. But what Schneider's doing and the performance that he had, I just can't get enough of what happened last night. And you're right, now we roll on today and see what happens in the Blue Jays season on the line.
So think about this for a second. I got this message wee hours of the morning from a huge Dodger fan who lives in Los Angeles. And he goes, think about it like this. Ohtani reached base 9 times. He was 4 for 4, had all those walks, 2 home runs. And yet he has to take third fiddle to Will Klein and Freddie Freeman. And I said, that's a very strong comment. I don't think I can get there with that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because he's the reason why they were in the game.
Yes.
But also, you just have to say exactly what you said. Like Will Klein, I mean, that was an unbelievable gut job that he pulled last night.
72 pitches.
Yeah.
He threw 56 in 2021. That was his
remarkable,
high.
Man.
Yeah, that was his high. And all the guys who are, and again, the Dodgers, the opponents are 2 for 37 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
Also, but I have to say this too.
Yep.
I hope, like in history, it's not forgotten that Tommy Edman was Akeem Olajuwon out there last night playing defense.
Yeah.
He made 3 different plays that were like run-saving, spectacular defensive, like we're talking about the Wizard of Osgood out there, Ozzie Smith. Mm-hmm. It was one right after another with those throws that were absolutely pinpoint, his hustle, the way that he was like the baseball IQ out there last night playing defense from Tommy Edman was something that I don't think I will ever forget as long as I still, in functioning. And people can't. I know it's like defensively, and it's not Ohtani hitting those 2 bombs, but without those plays, I don't think the Dodgers win the game. Like, he was that good.
Yeah. Totally
unsung, and he's lost because of everything else that took place.
Yep. 12 total bases, 9 times on base, 4 extra base hits, 4 intentional walks. No other players put up those numbers over a span of 2 games, let alone 1. Regular or postseason. The other one, as we keep talking, I'm sure you talk to your buddy, Dodger fans will argue they should have more championships because of Dave Roberts. And Dave Roberts tried to give that game away. I don't know what the hell he was doing. Why would you pinch hit for Kike Hernandez for Rojas just to bunt and give up an out after the leadoff double. That doesn't make any sense. And then Pages, who at least can hit a fly ball, you pinch hit for him with Call, who hasn't played since October 13th. Stupid.
Well, I see Roberts and I can raise Schneider.
Taking everyone out? Yeah,
There's a lot.
That's the other thing you have to factor in. You have to factor in, what if this goes 14, 15 innings? Oh, my God, I'm bleeped. And that's what happened to Schneider, too.
So here, I'll run down everything, see if I missed anything here. He pulls Barger and Kirk from a game in which he lost Springer and pulled Bichette. There's also this. Again, he was batting fourth, by the way, and then IKF has to come in and bat cleanup. Pitching to Ohtani in the seventh. I mean, after that, he's like, okay, we're never going to throw anything close to this guy ever again. Pulling Bassett after 8 pitches. Lauer after 68 when he threw 90-plus pitches several times over the course of the season.
Very good.
Right? So I think both guys.
Very good.
And it's difficult. Like, how long's the game going to go? We have no idea. But you have to plan for that kind of stuff.
Hernandez was 2 for 5. He's a great postseason.
That I did not like at all.
He's a great postseason player.
Yes, he is, Paul.
He's a good bat. Let him swing, at least. But the pinch hit for him, to Rojas, the bunt, was stupid. And then you hit for Pages, who is Mr. Fly Ball, Dodger fans will tell you. And again, Call hasn't played since October 13th. Ridiculous. In any event, it worked out for him, but it was just crazy and madness now. And now the door's open for props. What happens today? Can Ohtani do it again? And do you believe Schneider? Do you just take him at his word now?
That's what it comes down to, right?
That's right.
Because how many times, like in certain sports, we're like, okay, I got to bet these props because the manager is saying something here, and then, oops, it never plays out like that. But after walking him consecutively that many times last night, I mean, one shop here in Las Vegas had almost minus 1,500 for him to draw a walk tonight.
Well, good job putting it up. I think they walk him to lead off the game.
Intentionally or just walk or pitch around him? Like Bieber goes out there and just, he's like, okay, I'm going to pitch to you.
See if you get yourself out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to throw you 4 bad pitches, and if you swing, you swing.
Think about this now. His walk prop's 2.5. If Schneider says they're going to pitch, they're not going to pitch to him every single time the rest of the series, a close game, assuming it's not a blowout, well, then, there's 2 walks right there. And if he only come up with his 1 walk, or you can, maneuver it and buy it down to 2. So there's your 2 right there, and then bet all the under stuff with Ohtani. If he's telling the truth, and why wouldn't he?
Right. And
if they're just going to walk him every single time.
Right. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Because, I mean, it took a lot last night for the Dodgers to beat them. And the Blue Jays had their chances several times. Hello, bases loaded against Clayton Kershaw. What about that move? And it worked out for Roberts.
I give him a lot of credit. It was a full count. Good job. It was risky, but Kershaw got it done. I know.
And that's the only batter that he faced, by the way.
Yep.
That's another one, too. If he doesn't put him in there, how long does Kershaw, in a different spot, later in the game, is he going to pitch 2 or 3 innings?
Yeah, that's why I couldn't get enough of it. I mean, you're looking at Yamamoto, who just threw a complete game. He's coming out for the 19th.
Yep.
And then Bieber, who's starting today, was coming out, possibly. He was warming up for the Blue Jays. And then the Snell stuff is awesome, too. So how long was Yamamoto go? What if it went 21 innings, 22 innings? But that's why I have to bet the outs prop over with both guys. They need them to go deep. They have to get outs. They have to save them. There's a game tomorrow.
Right.
They have to save the bullpen. But I guess if something happens to Bieber, you're going to try to get 3 or 4 innings possibly out of Bassett, which you could probably do as well.
8 pitches, of course. You have to. So Ohtani to get a hit tonight. Shop around as always. On the no, you can find around plus 135, plus 140. Is that worth a bet in your opinion?
No. I want everything under with Ohtani.
That's what I said. Under 1 hit.
Got that, yes.
Under half a hit.
Yeah.
I bet
and bet total bases. What else?
Total bases as well.
I did total bases.
I want to bet over walks, but the prices are... And here's another thing, too.
Yeah.
I don't know the house rules at a lot of these spots because I don't know where to find it, to be honest. Some of them do not grade intentional walks as an actual walk. So be careful with that. Know your house rules in this spot tonight.
Yeah, that's a good job out of you.
Yeah, because I think
that got me last night, too. I bet longest made field goal under 52.5 yards. One book graded it a winner. Another book said no action.
Oh, because there wasn't a field goal?
Yeah.
That should be a winner.
Absolutely.
That stings.
That doesn't make sense to me either.
I agree with you. Yeah, I'm on your side on that one big time. Also, how about no home run on him tonight?
Oh, okay.
Now you got to lay minus almost $3 on that.
But all this blows up if it's a 7-1 game. And Schneider's like, well, the hell with it now, in any direction. You're not going to walk them if you're up 6 runs or 5 runs. You can't put ducks on a pond. You got to make them earn it. But if the Dodgers are blowing them out, he might just wave the flag and say, what's the difference? It kind of like Shoemaker when the Marlins were out of it. And they're like, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna respect the game and pitch to him.
Right.
When he hit 3 home runs or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I was looking for alternate hits as well to go under. So stations here in town basically under 2 hits or under 1.5 hits is like minus $5 for Ohtani at the plate. Westgate will he have 2+ hits? The no is minus 330. I laid 330 today.
Yeah.
I'll take Schneider at his word for that one.
Yeah.
That he's not going to come up to the plate and they're going to give him enough to hit more than once. If he does get a hit in the game, then he's got to get 2 to beat me. If he's telling the truth, I'll take the no on that. It's a lot of juice to lay, but
well, and then like we'll show this later, but what the viewers did, like the total bases under, the Ohtani walks, and then Bieber walks over, and then you add another one on there, and then you're looking at a pretty good return if that happens. So they're going to. He's Superman, absolutely. What they're going to do, this is incredible.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Can he steal a base to make him pay for it, though?
He's pitching.
Yeah, I know.
So I would be careful with that. I don't know if he's going to be...
Because that was an aggressive slide when he came in hot and popped off the bag. The last thing you want is him to get hurt.
It's a good throw, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
To be on point like that.
Tough. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be running tonight to steal a base with him on the mound. Maybe I'm wrong.
Would you have moved him back to Game 5?
That's
a good point
it
by
would have been in
A-Rod.
my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate with the language barrier as well that you just didn't, after the post game, it's just through the interpreter, well, I'm just going to go home and get a nap in and sleep. You'd like more than that from a soundbite or what he's thinking, but
I know.
That's unfortunate as well. But can't wait. It's awesome. It's so good. Oh, incredible.
Maybe he's Kikuchi and he needs 13 hours of sleep and he didn't get it last night.
How about great job by Dodger fans? Most of them stuck around.
Here we go again with the Chiefs. I will tell you how high they are in power ratings at vsin.com and different ways to add this team to your portfolio moving forward.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah. This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Good to have you on board. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is a spot. Thanks for watching today on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. This is going to be a great spot, as always, with Mr. Las Vegas advisor Anthony Curtis joins us in studio today. Good to see you again, AC. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm always happy to be on this show. It's the only thing I break my busy schedule for. Come see you.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that. We know that you grind away and you put in a lot of hours, obviously, every single day.
I'm only kidding. This is fun. I get a Heineken on the way in. It's all good.
Oh, there you go. All right. You already had one, huh?
I did.
Okay, cool.
Well, I'm waiting.
Way to set the tone. So we'll ask you about contests coming up in a little bit. And you attended the annual Blackjack Ball over the weekend. And we had Frank B in studio last week, and he was fantastic as always, setting up the audience what that's like. It's a gathering of some of the best gamblers in the world every single year.
Without question.
Yeah.
And I mean, like in all disciplines. But they all came up through, by all disciplines, I mean, they're all advantage players. They play different games. You know, some of them also play poker, but not so much, more machines, you know, that kind of thing. But and other things, you know, like kind of shady, kind of half legal things. But I mean, you know, just stuff like multiple cards, you know, getting multiple cards where there's a reason to get slot club benefits or, you know, players club benefits. They're just good at everything, these people, but their core skill is blackjack. And that's where it all began. So you have to go to the Blackjack Ball, you have to be okayed. If you're new, you got to be okayed by a committee that lets you in there. So it ends up being 120 people. And they're just amazing.
And it used to be 20 people? Now
when it started, I mean, it started in the 90s, like in the 1990s, in Max Rubin's basement. I mean, the guy who puts it together is Max Rubin, the guy who wrote Comp City for us. Mm-hmm. And Max has done like just such an amazing job. What he has turned this into, you couldn't believe it. And it started in his basement, And the first one, there might have been 35, maybe 35 people. And we had the skills contest all the way back then. And way back then in like the 90s, I was on the finals of the skills contest, me and a guy named Wally Simmons, who was in the Blackjack Hall of Fame. And Wally beat me, and I took second. And I went on to take second like 6 more times before I finally won the damn thing. And then Frank won it a few years after me. So we've got that on our resume. But now you've got 120 brilliant players. I mean, I'm watching these guys on the final table. I didn't make it this year, and I don't want to make it anymore. These guys are so good; it's unbelievable. They're, the things they can do, their skill level.
How so?
Well, they're doing everything. I mean, there's a card counting competition, and that doesn't even play into the skills competition, which is all about estimating discard racks, the amount of cards in a discard rack, which you need to count cards. It's about, shuffle tracking. It's about card memorization. It's about steering cards to somebody else. Like on the final hand, the winner, it was steering, where here's a joker. And that joker, we're going to place it right here. And here's where we're going to cut the cards. And there's 2 guys left, 1-on-1. And you two play your hands any way you want, supposedly knowing approximately or exactly where that joker is to steer that card by the way you play to your opponent. And if you steer it to your opponent, you win. And I'm watching the gamesmanship, these guys playing one hand, playing 2 hands, standing on a 9, whatever they're doing until it finally gets steered to the other guy. It's incredible. I was like, I don't want to be up there. I'd be flipping coins all over the place.
Hey, that is something. What you said earlier, half legal. What's half legal?
Well, by half legal, I mean, there's a lot of things in the gambling world that people are doing to get an edge on casinos. Because what are casinos doing? Casinos are trying to get an edge on the customer. Casinos are trying to lure the customer in, the civilian, right? As we call them, the civilian, lure them in with incentives, right? So these incentives are so good that if you only played the incentives and did nothing else, you would be able to make a living. But they don't. The civilians play, the civilians go on and on and on. They play through. So the casinos are trying to lure the customer in. The customer is taking the bait. That's great. But then the advantage player goes, well, I'll pretend I'm one of them. I'll be lured in by your incentives. I'll quit. I'll walk away a winner. How many times can I do this with fake IDs, with bringing in people off the street, with that kind of stuff? So now that hasn't really been tested in court. So nobody knows. Where I go, it's like pseudo legal. Who knows? Is that fraud or is it not? And I kind of don't like it. I don't like this what they call it multi-carding. And I don't really like it myself. But in my opinion, it's incumbent on the casinos and the bars to protect themselves with their frontline employees. And if they don't do that, then they're fair game, just like the customer is.
So you didn't win the blackjack ball this year. Frank didn't win it either?
Neither Frank nor I made it to the final table this year.
Do you know the person who eventually did?
Yes.
And who did it?
He had a name. This is a new guy. All right, this is a new guy off the street. Like, who is this guy? And then you watch him play, whatever. His name tag said EV. EV standing for expected value. And that's like, the altar that the advantage player worships at was his expected value. So that's what winning gambling is all about, expected value, positive, getting as much positive, what you expect to happen in a play, getting as much positive EV as possible.
Younger guy?
Yeah, young guy. Don't know him. Don't even know his name. But he went by EV. And he played brilliantly. And afterwards, I went up to him. I was like, "Damn, you were good."
You said something interesting about with moving the card, the joker, whatever. How familiar are you? How far does this go back with what just happened with the NBA, with this illegal poker games? And you've been told, well, hey, stay away from this game or this, and also how the different ways these guys cheat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, cheating at poker, that's a big problem with poker. Poker is such a fabulous game. It's, it could be the greatest gambling game ever if it wasn't for all the ways to cheat at poker. And especially when you start talking about online stuff. Oh, yeah. And a lot of people ask me, I mean, I've done stuff. I mean, I've played in some big poker tournaments and things like that. I played in some ring games, but I do not consider myself remotely, high-level poker player. And people ask me why you never got into it. And I said 2 reasons. One is it would take too long to get great. And 2 is too many ways to get cheated. Yeah. And so, the cheating's been going on. Are you kidding? All the way back to before you guys were born, the Thunderbird Casino, on the Strip, on the north end of the Strip, where the guys who own that room were literally, putting the holes in the wall and in the ceilings to peek through and see people's cards. And I mean, this has been going on since, the beginning, not to mention all the marking of cards and the bending of cards and all the different things that go on. And, just people playing together, collaborative efforts, and once you get to online, it's so easy to do it. And now that's what we're seeing. We're seeing low tech to high tech all coming together. And that's what happened in the NBA thing. And everybody's like, well, what's Chauncey Billups doing in there? And I mean, I don't know. This is just pure speculation, but my guess is that Billups was probably one of the original marks who got beat by these things and got maybe got in deep. And again, this is just speculation. I got no inside information. But they go, look, why don't you work with us and bring in people and you be a part of it?
Sure. Now, you never know what to believe nowadays, like what's real, what's AI. And I was fascinated with social media the day that this story popped. And I sent over a bunch of videos to Paulie and Luke. And there was, people were trying to explain what the glasses were like that they were wearing. So when you would turn the lights off, right, you could actually... Yeah. It was like infrared, what was on the back of the cards. Have you ever heard of something like that where the glasses would detect what's on the back of the card?
I hate to besmirch this great savant of a poker player, kind of a cripple of a person, but Stu Unger. Stu Unger won 3 World Series of Poker. And in his 3rd win of the World Series of Poker, he wore glasses that a lot of people said, what are those glasses? Now, a lot of people can go, how dare you? But I mean, I heard from some people that there could have been a lot going on. I knew a guy that got those glasses way back, again, in the 90s, and walked through, he said he walked through a place. They told him, he said, wear these glasses and walk through here. He said it was like fireworks going off, where you could see on the backs of the cards what these glasses could do. So yeah, they exist. And I mean, that should be very, very easy to guard against. Somebody get your own set or something, or, put your ear to the ground and listen to what's going on. But yeah, those the glasses for marked cards have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Now, Stu Unger was one of the greatest savant poker players of all time. So again, I don't want to besmirch his reputation at all. Maybe he was just that great. I know he was in the first 2, he wasn't wearing any glasses, but he wore those strange glasses through the whole damn thing, and he made some pretty amazing plays.
Yeah, and you're not the only person, I'm guessing, who has had that idea then, or probably other people talked about it as well for a long, long time.
Yeah, I've heard about it from many people who are much deeper into it than me.
Right.
More
again, nothing solid. Honest. If I knew, I would say, well, it's true. But I'm just saying, everybody wants to cast aspersions, right? Everyone wants to say, oh, this happened, but I haven't seen it. But it could have been.
Anthony was part of the Morongo game and the trip that Frank B talked about. We'll got to get into that. Also, who was on the payroll and some questions from the ball as well. Breeders' Cup is here. 14 championship races. Don't want to go in guessing. Full expert pick sheet for just $9.99. Every race straight from Samich and the crew here. And try to get the Derby Superfecta, who hit it last year. If you're a VSiN Pro subscriber, get the picks free. Top selections, confidence scores. Zero fluff, huge value. Pre-order now, vsin.com/breeders, vsin.com/breeders.
All right, yeah, we'll continue with Anthony Curtis, Las Vegas advisor, coming up next. Like Paulie was talking about, that trip that Frank told last week, that story about going to Morongo Casino back almost like 25 years ago now. It was unbelievable. We'll kind of reset that. And I can't wait to hear any similar stories that Anthony was a part of back in his prime blackjack playing days. Coming up next on Follow the Money, it's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue here with Anthony Curtis. LasVegasAdvisor.com is the website. So you attended the annual Blackjack Ball over the weekend. Frank B did as well. You guys are former winners. A new player that you did not know the name of, actually. His name tag said EV on it. That's what he went by. You said he was ultra impressive, and he won it over the weekend. I always love the question portion of the contest. Frank had some last year that were shared. and they're always extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Do you have a couple that?
Well, this year it was interesting because this year it was a lot of things that you couldn't even. I didn't bring them along with me because I didn't know you were going to ask me about this, but I remember some. You couldn't, it was like, okay, here's a hands. These are hands. What's the proper basic? Here are the rules. Dealer stands on soft 17, 6 decks, double after split, surrender, late surrender allowed. They give you all these ideas. These rules that you have to play by. Now, how do you play these hands? So there are a lot of them, and they were all very, very close to the edge that you would surrender versus, just hitting it, that sort of thing. So it's hard for me to say exactly. But one of them was, according to some sort of online thing, one of the most influential, that was the word, one of the most influential blackjack players of all time was Al Francesco. Now, not many people know the name Al Francesco. So they said there were 3. They named 3. Who were the other 2? Name one of the other 2. You could only pick one. So I was like, you're thinking Ed Thorpe. Ed Thorpe was at the party. Ed Thorpe, 93 years old,
Wow.
Road Beat the Dealer, started the whole thing, got up and addressed the whole, oh my God, it's so great. Addressed the whole crowd. But you're thinking Ed Thorpe, but then you're thinking, well, wait a minute, influential, this new age, wouldn't it be Don Johnson? Because Don Johnson's the guy who he's in, the book Advantage Players, taking Atlantic City for $12 million.
Yeah, great book.
All the different things that Don Johnson did. So both Frank and I put Don Johnson down there. And I'll be damned if it wasn't Ed Thorpe and somebody else. Yeah. So we were gone. We were out. But that was one of them. You kind of had to know that. Other questions, again, almost all of them were like numbers things.
Okay.
Where you had to, in the past, it would be like, okay, what casino in Oklahoma has the most blackjack tables and blah, blah, blah. But we didn't have much of that this year.
Okay.
It was different.
So last week,
I prefer those.
Yeah,
I think
those are
better.
awesome.
Yeah, those are
Because you
better
got a shot at those.
Yeah.
Frank B told an unbelievable story years ago about traveling to Morongo, the casino there in California, because Stanford Wong sent out an alert that they were going to have a promotion on Friday the 13th, and they're going to pay off every hand of 13, which pops every 15% of the time as a blackjack. So it was too good to be true, because they realized once everybody showed up, the casino said, well, we changed our mind. It's off, right?
Yeah.
You were there that day?
Yeah, I was there. Everybody was there. Back then there was, this had to be the 90s. Yeah. And everybody, the internet wasn't what it is, if it even was back then. Everybody did things through beepers and all of that. And Stanford Wong had a newsletter that put out differences in games and, opportunities and things. So he sent out this like special alert by fax. Wow. That's how we used to get these things, right? And it was like, okay, every 13, that you get a 13. And not only does it win automatically, but it pays 3-2. And the edge was, Frank and I were talking about it. Frank quoted an edge that I said, I don't think so. And we looked into it and he was off. But I think the edge was about 13%. I think Frank said 20 something, but he said, yeah, right. He had miscalculated. But it was something like 13% edge. And everybody had to go. And I remember that I was in the middle of a custody case for my son. I was never married, but I had a son with a girl, and we split up, and I was in a custody case to get him because I wanted to get him, right? And she agreed, and it went to me. And so now I'm the new dad. And I'm like, I call my mom and dad. I go, I gotta go to this. I felt so guilty. It was unbelievable. But I said, I have to go. And then that's the way it was. Everyone who was anyone was there. And we waited, and Morongo was looking at who was there and the conversations that were going on. And there were like backroom deals to buy seats, because by then all the seats were taken. We went real early, so we had seats. The seats were like gold, and everybody was waiting to play. And the time came, there was 30 minutes to go, and that loudspeaker comes over going, we're sorry, but we're canceling the deal. And they were an Indian reservation, so there was nowhere you could go to argue it or anything else. And I'll never forget this. I thought, I came out here, I did this, nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm driving away, and I look in the rearview mirror, and I see Morongo, and all I see is moron go. I'm like, Yep,
You know, Bob Dancer said that one time on this show, and I think Narcessian, who you got to bring in as the lawyer, that those places are allowed to do whatever they want, essentially, and make up their own rules. Or
yeah, you got to be very careful when if you're going to do anything that they might not like, whether it's legal or not. You know, even just counting cards or something like that on Indian land, because they're sovereign, they have their own rules, they have their own people. I mean, you know, they're not going to burn you at the stake. You know, there's none of that stuff going on. They're not going to do that, but they can arrest you and they can do things. So you have to be, you know, very careful in what you do on Indian land.
I'm fascinated by not necessarily who's on the team, but when you're doing this as a professional blackjack player, like everyone you can go to if you need something. Frank told the incredible story about we had a lie detector guy. Like if a guy was holding back and if we thought he was lying about what he was winning, we'll put him on the Pauly, right? Or I need a fake ID now. Like how many people did you have where I got to call this guy, I'm in a pinch, I got to call this guy needs to be called.
Or they could call you and put Pauly on them. But no, they did. I mean, we didn't. My group didn't go that far because we all trusted each other, you know. But these groups, you know, our group was about 8 or 9 people. And, you know, a few people would come and go, and everybody that came in, we knew personally. But these other ones that really scaled and made really big teams, they would have people coming in. Now, they'd have to go through what's called a checkout. The checkout would be basically they're being tested to see how good they were. They would have to, you know, count the cards, tell you the count, and be able to do all these different things to show that they had the skills to do what they were doing, you know, whatever their play was. Or if they were doing a different kind of play, cutting or steering or something like that, they would have to, you know, prove they were good. But then it always came into who trusts who. And a lot of those places they used polygraphs. And they did stuff like that. And everybody had, you know, we were able to call somebody if we needed an ID or something like that. Everybody, even if they weren't in your group per se, you could call somebody and they say, yeah, go use this guy. And he wouldn't even, you know, he'd make his money because he would get paid for it. Yeah. Right? You know, a couple $100 to make you an ID and that sort of thing. So it was an amazing network. It really was.
How many times would something like that pop up? The Morongo thing was maybe once in a generation or whatever, and it didn't even take place because they said, oh my God, this is way too good. But how many times did something pop up that was like too good to be true?
Quite a lot. I mean, you know, things would come up all the time, but it would be for amounts, you know, for different amounts. Like, you know, one I remember at the old Continental, which is now the Silver Sevens, right?
Yeah.
So the old Continental had a thing that, and this was a low rollers feast, because, you know, a lot of times something would come up to take really great advantage of Morongo. You had to be betting the maximum, which I think was probably 500. It might have been even 1,000, but I think at least 500. The Continental did this thing where if for any $5 or above, if you got back-to-back naturals, you got a $500 bonus. Now, that's gonna happen once in about 400 and some hands. So it's got about, you know, with a full table, every couple of hours, you're going to get that $500 bonus, right? No, I'm sorry, excuse me, more like about every 4 to 6 hours, you're going to get that bonus. And so all the $5 grinders were there. And I remember I heard about it late, and I went to play because I was a $5 grinder. And I was like, I'm going to go play this thing. This is great. And you could not get a seat. There was no way. And it looked like a jailbreak. You know, it was like every grifter from the street that you'd ever seen anywhere were all there. It's like, you know, you just get out of jail? What, you know, where'd you come from? You know, that sort of thing. And there was a big reunion, and that ran for like a day, and they threw the white flag, and, you know, that was enough. But there would be things like that all the time.
We promote the Coupon Book and what's going on, Las Vegas Advisor, new books coming out, etc. Please.
Yeah, well, okay, sure. You know, Las Vegas Advisor. You know, that's what I do now. I don't go out and play with these guys anymore. You know, I publish books in the newsletter, and LVA is our main thing, and our coupon book is the best coupon book in Vegas. You know, it's a lot of free money in there, a lot of discounts, 2-for-1s, 2-for-1 for the Palms lobster buffet for $70.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's you can use it till the end of the year, and then we're going to have a new one for the new year, and that's going to be good too.
I don't ask you for much. I know it's hard.
Okay, I'll comp you.
No. Can we ever talk and interview Brian, please?
Brian Zembic.
The man who had $100,000 breasts put in as a prop bet and never took them out. I got to talk to this
Brian
guy.
Zembic would be the most fascinating interview you ever had.
I agree.
This is a guy who walks around with boobs. He has for 20, 30 years. and he is his daughter's a concert pianist. He is some say the best backgammon player in the world. He can speak 2 or 3 different languages. He is. I've never seen a guy in public who's got more personality in my life. And the thing is, he doesn't live in Vegas anymore. When he comes back to Vegas, I will do my utmost to get him in here.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate that. Best Bets College Football, Paul Stone, next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
What a game last night. One for the ages. Game 3 World Series. We'll get to do it all over again coming up in about 90 minutes. And we head out here to the Progressive Guest Line as Jensen Lewis joins the program now. Former Major League pitcher, morning show host here on the network. Jensen, thanks for the time. After the game last night, Klein, who was the magic man out there on the mound for four innings, he told the media that he basically heard from 1,000 people at some point, right after the game, earlier this morning, whatever it was. As a former pitcher, how many people did you hear from, like, during and after the game?
I think I told you guys my best inning ever was Game 3 in the 07 Division Series at Yankee Stadium when I punched out Jeter, Abreu, and A-Rod. And that was back when, you had like the razors, the flip phones. And I want to say I had over at least 100 text messages and like 50 voicemails, whatever. Last night was hysterical. Our LB Network Radio Loud Outs group, all of us former players, I tapped out earlier than I wanted to, obviously with a quick turnaround, so it was tough. I had 317 text messages from our group last night. So going through that, just seeing everyone reacting, I mean, we've all been there. We're all managing. We have Derek Shelton, former Pirates manager, who's in that group too. So it's great to get his insight on some of the decisions and some of the boneheaded ones there from John Schneider. But what a game, guys. Early reports on the pitching side here, Mitch, it sounds like everyone's available for the Blue Jay bullpen except for Eric Lauer, which makes sense going 4 2/3. I'm really interested to see what you get from Hoffman tonight, as well as Sasaki on the Dodgers side. And just, again, it's inning by inning here. I don't know how the hell Ohtani is going to be able to do this tonight, guys. I was getting an IV yesterday. Yeah. I was cramping up last night. So that got me to an under on his outs. I played the under at the plus price, under 17.5 outs for Ohtani. I played the over at $1.60 for Bieber, over 14.5 outs. I played his over 4.5 strikeouts too. You have to get length somewhere. And I think Bieber will probably get it tonight.
So after the game, Schneider was asked, are you going to pitch around him moving forward or walk him? And he said, yeah, I'm going to walk him. And then he was asked 45 minutes ago, are you going to walk him to start the game? He says, I don't know yet. What do you think happens?
So knowing Bieber the way that I have and covered him, I think there's a mutiny in the clubhouse if they walk him intentionally to start the game. And regardless let's say the Dodgers or the Blue Jays go out and put up a 2 spot, even if it's scoreless 1, 2, 3, I think the first AB of the game, you have to be smart going after. I'd expect cutters from Bieber. I'd expect if he's got a good slider out of the bullpen, those are ways to kind of stay off the plate. I wore my Superman shirt in honor of Ohtani because that's what he is. Mitch, you were great. You said it's Michael Jordan, reincarnated in a baseball uniform. So I don't think Paulie, to answer your question roundaboutly, I would be utterly shocked if they put up 4 fingers to start the bottom of the first. Outside of that, it's free game. If you want to put it up and you don't want to pitch to him the rest of the series or as far as the rest of the game, to start the game, though, I would be utterly shocked if that happens.
Why?
I just don't think it sets the right precedent as far as Bieber's concerned. Like, you're asking Bieber then to face Betts, who's actually been pretty good against him. You're already putting the go-ahead run. I'm saying it's a 0-0 game. You're asking to put the go-ahead run. Well, it'll come to the plate anyway in Ohtani, so you're going to put him on base already. Then one swing and you're down 2-0 in a game you have to have. This is the must-win game. Yeah. Teams that will go up 3-1 and 89%, win the series. So I can't ask my starting pitcher to already be under more duress than it already is facing Ohtani when he steps in the box to start the first.
Well, so then how does Bieber approach him though? Like,
that's what I'm saying is I think, Mitch, it's more, he's going to go cut fastballs in. I think he moves his feet a little bit with the slider, maybe down and in, bounces it, has a good curveball. That's why I'm saying when you watch him early coming out of the pen, if I'm Alejandro Kirk, I'm going to know whether he's got a really good slider, good curveball, both or not. And that's probably going to be communicated from Pete Walker walking in to the dugout. Pete Walker's going to tell John Schneider, like, he looks pretty damn good, and you might want to give him a shot here. So, guys, I think it goes right up until Bieber walks in from the pen. They have kind of a conversation about what they want to do. And ultimately, heck, Vladdy could go hit a solo homer in the top of the first, and you get a 1-0 lead. So I'm real anxious to it. The pitcher in me, knowing the competitor that Bieber is, I think he is going to want every opportunity to tell John Schneider and prove to him, like, listen, this is the first guy of the game. After that, if you want to walk him second time around, you're the manager. That's your call.
could it be in like a version of an unintentional, intentional walk? Or it's
Certainly.
like, I'm not,
and
like out of respect to Bieber, right? It's like, I'm not going to make you intentionally walk this guy, but don't put anything even close to the plate for him.
Can't Sir Anthony Dominguez it, right? You just can't put it on a tee. That cannot happen. And for what it's worth, guys, I know I looked at the FanDuel props, and I think you guys have talked about it. You know, there's a part of me like the hit by pitch part of this, right? If you're going to miss, you miss so egregiously in, like you start that cutter, almost at the inner third, and if it's high, you want it right at his hands. I mean, the guy's got to pitch. So there's some other strategy involved here too. All right, is if you want to make sure that you don't miss out over the big part of the plate, Bieber's strengths to left-handed hitters are throwing cutters in and sliders in. So uncork it, man. If you hit him, whatever. You were going to walk him anyway, so be it. Like, at least inflict a little physical damage here for a guy that is, there's no way he's 100% coming into tonight knowing, what he's done all of 18 innings of last night.
You imagine Bieber does that and it comes in, hits his right wrist. Ohtani's pitching tonight. All of a sudden, okay, I can't go. He did something to my wrist. No, I'm just based on what. Yeah. And by the way, like, I'm guessing that you pitch with guys in your career who would have that mentality. Like, he's getting some chin music to begin the game.
There is something to be said for a guy that's so locked in, guys. It was always preached to us that you want to make someone uncomfortable. Now, by no means are we saying or advocating that you go above the shoulders. That's an absolute no-no. In a way to make sure you don't make mistakes, I go back to what Bieber's real good at, and that is inside cutters and sliders to a left-handed hitter. So to me, I remember, like, Adrian Beltre, the only guy I ever hit, only career ejection I ever had. Guy was on absolute fire against us when he was with Boston. The first pitch was defending a teammate, but I had no problems going high and tight, to get him off the plate because he was covering everything. And especially at Fenway Park, you get the Green Monster. Everyone wants to yank down there as a right-handed hitter. So again, when you've got a guy this hot and you got a guy this locked in, there's something to be said for just absolutely letting him have it on the inside part of the plate and get him off. If nothing else, it might gain you a little real estate on the outside part of the plate and be able to get you a little bit more east and west.
What else do you have your eyes on tonight in terms of a bet overall? That player props wise, first five, anything like that? Yeah, I actually do like Varsho tonight for a hit, Barger for a hit. I was actually texting with Derek Shelton, former manager with the Pirates, also coached, was a hitting coach there in Tampa under Joe Madden. And he said, it's an old Joe Madden trick here. Everyone slides up a spot. And so I'm fascinated to see with Lucas leading off here, Vladdy in the 2-hole now. You almost might cheat and get an extra AB for it. I love Vladdy for 2 more total bases tonight. As I said, I think he could go deep tonight, just knowing that there's going to be some fatigue there for Ohtani. I think you look at Bichette tonight. I know Kirk has been on absolute fire. But just kind of the pitch arsenal doesn't line up real well against him on paper. Now, again, that's why I give the caveat, the fatigue here for Ohtani. I'm anxious to see first and second time around the lineup. So love Varsho, love Barger tonight. As I said, I think Bieber gets enough length, guys, just by default, that he gets to 5 strikeouts. So I played the over on that, played the over on the outs. And then, here we go from the 6th, 7th inning on. Your guess is as good as mine, guys. I mean, just knowing you play 18 innings, the only other one I know you guys get to get out, but
I was doing pre and post game for the Indians and the Blue Jays in 2016 when it was Canada Day. They played 19 innings. Okay. Trevor Bauer came in relief and I think threw 7 innings. So it was just unbelievable to see. He was supposed to start the next day. He ends up having to come in relief and basically had his own start a day early. So anything is possible tonight, and I cannot wait to see how both managers have to do the tightrope tonight.
I was going to say, there's a scenario where Kershaw has to come into the game tonight and give him like 3 innings.
Yeah.
100%, fellas. And again, that's why I think the end of the game, if it is a close and it's a save situation, boy, I don't know what you're getting from Sasaki. He looked terrible last night. Hoffman bounced back after 2 full innings. It's a big deal, man. And so some great live betting opportunities, too.
All right, pal. Thanks so much for hopping on the program here late notice. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the game.
Always, fellas. Thanks.
Thank you. VSiN Pro subscribers have exclusive access to all new AI player prop projections powered by OptAI, the same trusted brand behind elite soccer analytics in the UK, data-driven projections for QBs, wide receivers, and running backs. And to tip off the NBA season, limited time free preview of the new NBA player props. Ton of guys are 3-0. Every game's gone over. Check it out. VSiN.com/NFL props. VSiN.com/NBA props.
Wake up early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. with Jensen and Dave Ross. They'll recap World Series Game 4 tonight. In Pocket Plays coming up next.